I'll show you the mindsets that most often hold entrepreneurs back, and I'll also share a story with you that really clarifies a lot. So, are you ready? Then let's get started. Right now, in this very moment, ask yourself, what am I thinking right now that's stopping me from taking action? And it might be something like, well, I need to do everything myself. Or maybe I'm not ready yet to launch something new. Or if I take a break now, everything will probably fall apart. Or the market is already saturated as it is. Any thought that sounds logical but makes you feel tense inside. Our job isn't to argue with it, but to recognize it. Acknowledge that it exists and start working with it. There are a few steps here. Step 1. Catch this belief, name it, hear it, and write it down. Step 2. Ask yourself 3 questions. Who told me this? Is this 100% true? And are there examples where this isn't the case? For example, if the thought is that to earn money you have to work yourself to exhaustion, then the question is, are you really sure there's no other way? You don't know a single person who builds a business with ease, through a team, through inspiration. If there's even one person like that, then it's not a law, it's just your belief. And step 3, rewrite this belief. Say it differently. Not just a positive fairy tale, but in a way that you can actually believe in. For example, instead of, I have to control everything, write, I build a business where trust drives results. Or instead of, if I let go, everything will fall apart, say, I create a structure that is held together by systems, not by fear. Step 4, find 3 pieces of evidence. For example, when you already did something differently before, when you maybe delegated something and it worked out, when you took a break, and on the contrary, a new solution came to you, or when you stopped trying to please everyone and got results. Find these examples. They exist even if they are very small, and they are very important. Now read the new formulation out loud. Feel how it sounds. Write it down and repeat it again and again. And now you are no longer the one stuck in the old thought, but the one who has started to move forward. And now that we've warmed up this space, let's go through the top 20 beliefs that entrepreneurs come to me with. So what kinds of limiting beliefs do entrepreneurs have? They fall into several groups. Or for example, there are financial ones. For instance, to get rich, you have to work non-stop. This is a belief from a generation where hard work was equivalent to survival. But today, growth comes through mindset, through strategies, through decisions. Working yourself to the bone is not the path to wealth, it's the path to burnout. Money corrupts people. Well, in reality, money amplifies what is already there. If you're generous, you'll become even more generous. If you're wise, you'll manage wisely. Money is not a threat. It's just a tool. Next, you can't earn much through honest work. Well, that's just a stereotype imposed by those who never tried another way. In reality, people are much more willing to pay for value, for clarity, for a growth point than just for labor. Then there are psychological attitudes. For example, to earn money, you have to please everyone. And that's a direct path to burnout. People don't buy from those who are convenient. They buy from those who are clear, confident, and valuable. If I take a break, the business will fall apart. No, it will fall apart if you don't rest. Because you are the source, you are the resource. And if it dries up, everything comes to a halt. There are already plenty of competitors in the market. Yes, and there are many stars in the sky, but the ones that shine are those who stand out, not those who blend in. Your individuality is what makes you beyond competition. Everything needs to be prepared perfectly. It will never be perfect. What gets launched is not something perfect, but something alive. And it grows in the process, not on paper. A good product sells itself. And this is the most famous trap. If you don't talk about yourself, no one will ever know about you. You need to share your value, not just hide it. And then there are also organizational mindsets. For example, like how it's better to do everything yourself. In that case, you're not an entrepreneur. You're a slave to your own system. Strength lies in trust, in delegation, in growth, not in total control. The customer is always right. No, a client who violates your boundaries is not your client. True value is born out of respect, not out of constantly adapting to others. There are also certain deep-seated fears. For example, if I stand out, I'll be judged, jinxed, or rejected. And that's the fear of not belonging. But when you blend in too much, you disappear. You're not here to hide, you're here to shine. Next, no one in our family has ever been wealthy. Maybe you are the very person who can break this chain and let your family remember you as the first one who changed everything. Then there's the belief that business is stressful and stress kills. But business is, above all, about energy, and it shouldn't be killing you. It should grow together with you, not at your expense. If I make a mistake, people will laugh at me. Well, the only people who never make mistakes are those who never do anything at all. Spectators don't make mistakes because they never step onto the stage. You are not a spectator. If even one of these beliefs sounded familiar and resonated with you, that's not a coincidence. There's already a questionnaire waiting for you in the description of this video. Fill it out, and it will help you take your first step toward a new reality. I'm Marina Belousova, a mindset architect and an expert in working with the subconscious. And I will help you rewrite old programs, overcome internal beliefs and barriers, and finally start living and building your business the way you truly want. So here as well, I want to share the story of one of my clients who came to me because her business had reached a certain plateau.
The initial request she came to me with was to break through her financial ceilings, increase the company's net profit, and generally take the company to a new level.
And she herself is a business consultant. She knows how to support and grow other businesses, but she couldn't understand what was the problem with herself, because all the tools she had simply didn't work for her personally.
We meet with her every Thursday, and each session lasts about 2 to 3 hours. During this time, we work through tasks from the previous period, set goals for the future, and identify areas where I experience blocks, tension, and resistance.
And so when we started to look into how she works with her team, how she works with families, how she reaches out to people in general, how she communicates, how she does this and that. And at some point, a question just came to me. Tell me, what was your childhood like? And just like that, one thing after another, she remembered a story about how, as it turns out, she had an uncle whom she barely knew because she was still very little at the time. The only thing she remembers is that at every family gathering, the same story was always told, that her uncle was the only person from her father's side of the family who left his job and started his own business. His business failed. In short, he went bankrupt, lost everything, and took his own life. So just imagine a little girl sitting at the table, hearing the same story at every family gathering for years. And even if she doesn't pay much attention to it, this story sinks very deep inside her. And this is the story that was holding her back from growing now, because subconsciously she always had this fear that business is dangerous. Business had already killed one person. And the most interesting thing is that this isn't even her own fear. It's a fear that didn't come from her own experience. This fear was born from her parents' experience. Here too, there's this point about how our subconscious picks up on certain things that maybe on some level we don't even remember, because she didn't remember this story very vividly. She only recalled it when we started digging deeper and trying to figure out what the problem was, what could have happened, what was there, and what else was there.
We either go into meditation or hypnosis in order to bring all this to the surface and remove it from my subconscious.
It was so interesting to observe the process. When we went into meditation, into this trance-like hypnotic work, I asked her to identify the fear. I asked her to feel it out. And she later told me that she felt something huge, something enormous in her stomach. And when I asked her to pull it out of herself, she saw her uncle's head. Of course, this is a metaphorical example. The subconscious often communicates with us through metaphors, just as the subconscious best understands metaphors. And it gave this metaphor, it represented this fear. What was its shape? What was it? And we sort of transformed all of that into her strength. And when she came out of the meditation, she told me that even on a physical level, she felt much lighter. And believe it or not, she started to have a completely different kind of energy. And with that energy, her business began to develop in a completely new way.
And in the end, I want to share with you the interim result as of now, after a month and a half. We are launching a nationwide company with a multi-billion turnover. Marina, we're waiting for the finish.
Well, now for the conclusion. What's next? If you want to understand exactly which belief is currently driving your decisions, actions, and internal limitations, then come to me for a session. This isn't some kind of free motivation. It's 30 minutes of serious, in-depth work without any just to cheer you up, without, well, you'll manage. It's about finding the pressure point and seeing what vectors are available. I'm not going to discuss prices here because it's not about the price. It's about the decision to move forward. Leave an application below this video if it's truly important for you to move forward. Thank you for your attention, for your engagement, for saying yes to yourself. And remember, everything starts with your thoughts. And you can choose which one to make your new reality.